had the privilege to play at St. Joseph Regional High School, a powerhouse program that at the time was pursuing its 7th consecutive state title. And as you would suspect, we rarely had to settle for field goal attempts. So that, coupled with the fact that it was my first and only year playing football, it's safe to say I wasn't at the top of many prospect lists. Being that I was the first member of my family to pursue collegiate athletics, aside from the random Google searches and then word of mouth from family and friends, we were clueless as to what really was involved in the whole recruiting process and then everything leading up to that as well.
You want to talk about shooting beyond the arc? How about the exhibition that Steffi Sorensen put on in the first
Well, I can speak firsthand that as a student athlete coming into college, you don't know the right questions to ask. But I didn't take enough time to really dive into the whole recruiting thing. I wanted to get it over with, and I think that's where a lot of kids run into issues now, where they get so overwhelmed with so many different colleges and the letters and the calls that by the time signing day is around, they just want to get it off their plate. When I talk to kids now, I'm like, don't do what I did.
Today's recruiting world is definitely important for these kids to get an exposure to the college coaches even before they really get into the recruiting cycle, mainly because these coaches can look back, okay, well, we knew this kid when he's in 7th, 6th grade, and now he's grown into this, kind of what we knew he would develop into.
I'm really glad to have gotten my profile as early as I did and get out there.
The special thing with View My Sport is, I think, when I think about college recruiting services, is authenticity.
View My Sport has done an excellent job in putting everything in a one-stop shop location.
One of my favorite things about View My Sport is actually the video part of it. The fact that you can see an athlete in action, I think that's really important for coaches to see.
I think it's a tremendous tool, and especially because not everyone can go to the Nike tournaments and all that where they have college coaches lined up.
It also gives athletes the ability to reach those on the other side of the coast that they can't physically go see. That opportunity, that availability, and that resource is invaluable.
Coaches can now basically list everything that they were looking for in an athlete, and View My Sport will generate all the athletes on the site that match that criteria, making it easier for coaches and more efficient to find exactly what they're looking for in an athlete.
The tools that View My Sport has with networking with college coaches across the nation is really important because it gives you a lot more opportunities.
Well, networking is the name of the game. View My Sport simplifies that process.
I think that so many people now, with trying to get kids into college, it's all about money and not necessarily advancing a kid's college education and getting them the best experience, and I think that's what sets View My Sport apart.
The fact that they have research tools to learn more about the school outside of just the sport, whatever sport they're playing, it's important because these kids are going to get an education first and foremost.
So I think it's really important for an athlete to research what type of school they want to attend before signing or accepting a scholarship.
If you're the type of person that wants to go to city school, View My Sport will find you a school that's a city school.
I was really glad that View My Sport is so easy to use and very well organized. There's so much that goes into the recruiting process. The View My Sport just makes it easy to plug in your video highlights, your stats, and then just send off your resume to a coach just like that.
I think it's important to be educated, and that's what View My Sport brings. It educates not only the student athlete, but the parent on the intricacies of the recruiting process as a whole.
Even my own son, one day, because I am a dad, I know that when he gets to the 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I want that process to be easy for me.
The volleyball players that I'm coaching now, I have told them about View My Sport. It's just so effective.
If I would have had access to View My Sport, I feel like I would have a much better opportunity of exposure. I mean, when I was 15, 16 years old, my mom and I and my AAU team were out at a Walmart washing cars to try and get to certain tournaments just to get exposure, and some of them I couldn't get to because we didn't have enough money.
With View My Sports, you know up front that the affordability is there compared to what I'm accustomed to.
The fact that they're able to do all this at the rates that they offer, it really shows alone that they care more about the student athlete and not just in it for a money game.
What's exciting about View My Sport is the fact that the direction with which they're choosing to go now is an enlightening experience. It's educating, and I think when you have young kids who don't know anything about the whole college recruiting process. I know, speaking on behalf of me, my mom, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know who to reach out to, and so with View My Sport now, I just think that there's such great opportunity. You have opportunities to talk to different people who've been in those situations. You have advisors that are willing to talk to you and guide you, and that's not something you get from other different services.
I love the fact that there's advisors at View My Sport for each sport, rather than just having a general, one person who knows, some rules here and there about every sport. There's one specific person for each sport.
And I think that that's super big when it comes to kids and going to college and actually being happy. I think that's the biggest thing is View My Sport wants you to go and be successful but also be happy, and that's a huge part of college.